I want to make a game. I've just broken up for the summer from university and I need something to do, so I decided to make a 2D platformer inspired by Hollow Knight and Celeste. While I'm not expecting to make the entire game this summer, I want to do as much as I can before I have more assignments and less free time. So here is the game plan. I've been watching quite a lot of Ryan Trahan over the last few weeks, so yeah. My goal for this video is to create a rough outline and come up with an idea for the game. Then I want to create a basic player movement script. And then if I have time, I want to create some art for the game. I started by creating a whiteboard on Canva and chucked all of the ideas from my head onto the page. And then I found a couple of images on the internet which lined up with what I was imagining. I settled on this kind of abandoned sci-fi world where there were science labs which had all been torn apart by these gravity shifts that were the outcome of a failed experiment. But the gravity shifts then lead to floating islands and platforms that you have to overcome, and also obstacles that you need to dodge. The main mechanic that I want to play around with, if you hadn't guessed, was manipulating gravity. While I was coming up with ideas for the main character, I was torn between kind of this adventurous Indiana Jones and Lara Croft type explorer, or a cute robot. And I picked the cute robot because, I mean, look at him. And he was easier to draw. Oh, and another thing, I came up with a title for the game, Ascension Rift. I created a new Unity project. I used a box for the ground and a capsule for the player, and then I also created a basic script which I slapped onto the capsule standing in for the player. I also added a rigid body, 2D, and a capsule collider just so that then he could interact with the ground and with Unity physics. I then took quite a while creating a movement system because I ran into a couple of bugs, which, in hindsight, should have been really easy to spot. But once I'd finished that, I then had a basic keyboard input, which also works with a controller because I want to make it cross-compatible from the start. I also watched this really interesting video by GMTK about the design of Hollow Knight, and I've put a link to that in the description if you're interested in watching it. Then I deviated slightly from the plan, by skipping over to doing some of the art before I'd finished all of the things I'd wanted to do in the code. So I drew this pixel art robot, which I'm really happy with because pixel art is still something I'm learning, so there might be some things that if you know what you're doing you'll be cringing at, but I'm quite happy with what I've done, but I might change things in the future. But I just wanted something more interesting to look at than a capsule and a box. So I drew this, and then I also animated him to have a little run and a jump, which I could then add when I was creating the movement. And then I also created a whole bunch of environment graphics inside of Affinity Designer, which you can see on screen. I'm quite happy with how these all came out, and so I'm going to add them now to my very bare bones scene, just to make it a bit more interesting while I'm wasting away on my laptop fixing and testing my code. Speaking of my code, let's go back to it. I created a wall jump and dashing mechanic, and to make the dash more interesting, I added a particle system that plays for less than a second, and it follows the player around. For some reason, when I added the dashing, the wall jump broke, so I spent some more time fixing that. And yeah, with that, I have all of the basic movement that I wanted to achieve in this video, with the dashing, wall jumping. I also added shooting, which I didn't really cover in this video, but I will be talking about it in the next video, so I'm wanting to create a combat system and some enemies for the player to fight. If you want to keep up to date on Ascension Rift, then please feel free to subscribe and leave a like. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.